And it only goes to a certain connection where you're dynamic. You're new every day, every second. We're living in a dynamic, fast-moving, unfolding universe. It's always been that way, but the awareness has come up to the point we can see it. And the evidence is there. Now, this spirit is what I want to spend a little time before we go into the personality types and the expression of all this soul, mind, spirit, and the way the body operates. The spirit, another word for it is consciousness. Another word for it is energy. Radial energy is a good word. There's a lot of names. Man, you can come up with dozens upon dozens of names for this thing we call the spirit. Psychology calls it subconscious. The subconscious is a dynamic, moving principle. Religion, sometimes refer to it in the Western religion, called it the Spirit of God. In the Eastern, sometimes they call it by many different names. Sometimes they call it in its expression Vishnu. Sometimes it's Shiva. Depends on whether it's building, preserving, or tearing down. And they don't look at it as bad or good. They look at it as this is a process of looking at life and understanding life. Now, so I don't want to get so far in the field out there of this because nobody knows what it is in its essence. It is unbelievably complex, powerful, wise, beyond all our description. The poets and the theologians and the philosophers have described it in glowing terms, and yet they've never touched the beauty and the essence of what lies within every little tiny electron in your body. That's what we're going to deal with all weekend as to how that can spring forth in its potentiality in our life, in our aspirations, in the goals and the images, in the highest that we can conceive of. How that can take place. There's an old sign at the back. I had my daughter just give it to her on the phone, and she didn't put quite all I wanted in there. But it says, we've had problems because we didn't understand our strengths. We've not had problems because of weakness. People think they have problems because of weakness. You don't have any problems because of your weakness. You have problems because you've not understood the innate strengths that are unique to you. This infinite power, whether you call it God or you call it energy, whether you call it spirit, has got a lot more invested in you than you've got invested in you. So if we start with that premise and say, how can I unlock some of that? How can I really unlock that? How can I not be afraid of myself? My potentialities of really allowing the best to come out. How can I do that? Do I really want help? Yeah. Do I really? Do I really want love in my life? How many of you like to have more love in your life? Some of you. Not so sure you want to go along with that. Yeah. I have a lot of love in my life. It's simple. All you got to do is be loved. And you have love. All you can have. But there are some requirements on this thing. But they're in the Rays of Dawn and simply laid out once we start to look at it. The body. This body we need to care for it. We've got about 4 simple rules to take care of. And those rules of the body are pretty simple to do. The thing that keeps us from administering those 4 rules are the 12 rules that have to do with the mind. And the thing that keeps us violating that is because we're not utilizing what we're designed to utilize. So you don't have to worry about the laws of the body so much. You don't have to worry about the laws of the mind so much if you're utilizing who you are as a soul. If you're being a soul. If you're developing your awareness, what it says in duty. And we want to work on that in a practical, pragmatic way. We may tear a few things apart this weekend and put it back together. I used to have this guy, I was doing consulting for a corporation, and they said, we can't understand this guy. You know, we can put him in the worst situation and he straightens it out. But then, you know, before long he's back in the same situation again. So I looked at his profile and doing some questionnaires and everything, and I said, well, and I also knew his personality. He's a muscular, but he had a lot of cerebral in him also, and he had a high creativity, high creative urge, high will to power. And what he'd do, he'd go in and boy, it didn't matter how bad it was, he'd straighten the thing out. And it was amazing how he could do it. But then he'd tear it up so he could do it again, see? And we do the same thing a lot of times, folks. A lot of times we use our strengths to destroy. Now, if you want to be a destroyer, there's a reason for that. It's, you know, people don't call it bad, but most of the time we don't like the results of being a destroyer. Now, this creator, whether you call it God, you call it Brahman, or Brahma, you call it a lot of different names, it doesn't matter. It uses everything. The builders, the destroyers. But it matters to you which one you play. How did I get way off on this stuff? I'm supposed to be talking about personality. All right, let's go on up again, John. We start this thing a little bit. We say, here we got John, but we'll start instead of going in this highfalutin philosophy. Let's just talk about the body for a minute. He's got a good body. Dr. Mike could do this about 100 times better. You say, here's a form. He's got a good form. He's got 2 legs, got 2 arms, got a nose, you know, 2 ears, I see. All the right spots where they're supposed to be. Well proportioned. But internally, this form extends to organs so complex and so wonderful, and on down into the cells and the molecules and the atoms and then the little subatomic, and even energy that keeps those things going just right for him to have a real good body. But that's not all he is. He has protoplasmic action as well as the form. He has chemical action that all the drug industries and the factories can't even reproduce. It's going on every second within his body, antagonistically working against each other. You see, we see this destruction and this building going on in the protoplasmic action of the body. Isn't that wonderful? It is. They call it homeostasis or metabolism. I hate to tell you this, John, but while we're talking, literally hundreds of millions of cells have just died in your body. Isn't it terrible? No, it's not terrible, because hundreds of millions have been reborn. See? You have catabolism, the dying. Then you have a new birth. See? A new birth. They call it anabolism. Wait, the balance brings health. That right, doctor? Rob?
You got
it. Anyway, that's not all his body, though, and that's certainly not all of John. We say, what else? Well, not only all this blood circulating 60,000 miles in his circuitry, like a giant water system sending out the nutrition even the periphery, the swampy areas, like you call it capillaries, and then like a great sewer system pulling all the toxins back through the all this protoplasmic. Oh, you can just go on and wouldn't even scratch the surface of the marvelous things going on within John. And it's going on within you and I too. But that's not all of John. In fact, it's not even all of his body. My God, he's got an electrical system and a communicating system that's unbelievable. Like Pastor, he punched me right in the nose, just like that. Communication, better than any telephone. and electrical system just sending out trillions of different frequencies, just right for his perfect health. Unbelievable! No wonder the Bible says that the body is fearfully and wonderfully made. Is that John? Yep. We're not even getting close to real John yet. We got to go a lot deeper than that to find John. To really find him. You think you found him just because you're looking at him on the outside? No, no. If we cut him up, we couldn't find John.
Let's try.